Hi everybody, so good to see you again, and today I'm excited to start a new line of technique videos that hopefully you can use a lot of the things that I teach you right away this week. So hopefully it'll recharge you or maybe give you some new ideas that will get you going again. So the first one I'm going to teach you about is something called PALS, okay? Now that sounds silly maybe, but it stands for four things. P stands for put your instrument together and take care of the case. And so we have to teach our students that that's the first thing they need to do. Put their instrument together and put their case by the wall. It's really important that they take care of their case. Clarinets and flutes and saxophones, small trumpets and cornets, those things can go underneath the seat. But things like French horns, bass clarinets, trombones, none of those cases should be within the ensemble because they really make it look messy. So I ask them to in a neat way, and I have to specifically show them exactly how they line up their cases against the wall. So go ahead and do that and take the time to really teach them. This is how we're going to set our cases starting tomorrow, okay? So we're going to actually step over here to the wall and we're going to put them however you want that to look on the wall. For me, I have them set up so they're not flat against the wall, so we can fit more down the line. But that's up to you. So P in PALS, put together your instrument and put away the case. You have to teach each one of these. A, answer the questions. Now, what are the questions? Well, these are discussion questions that you put up on the board. Okay, generally, you can find a quote that you like. Now, I would try to pick quotes at the beginning that actually inspire you. So if you think that they need work on discipline, find a quote that talks about discipline. If you think they need a quote on hope, then or maybe you need some hope, then put a quote on the board or on the screen that is all about hope. Okay, after you have the quote, then ask some deep questions about it. For example, if you're talking about excellence, you might have a question like, how do you show excellence in your everyday life? And how do you show excellence in your everyday playing, or in the way that you perform, or in the way that you come to class prepared? All right, so things like that. I usually ask about 3, 4 to 5 questions, and I'll try to have a video where I show you exactly what those questions look like. But right now, I just want you to know that there's gonna be a quote on the screen that you've prepared in advance. It really doesn't take much time, maybe 5 minutes at the most. All right, and then you prepare that quote and questions so that when those kids walk in the door, they have a quote on the board with questions that they have to answer. All right, so they walk in, they take care of their case. P, put away their put away their case. Take out their instrument, put away the case. A, answer the questions. Okay, so each student needs a notebook for this. Now, most of the time, if it's at the beginning of the year, kids come to school with a notebook, but sometimes you might have to pay for some notebooks. I've found that if you can get notebooks at the beginning of the year, you can get a pretty reasonable amount. And if you ask the kids to bring in notebooks, depending on where you teach, most of them can bring them in. Now, I teach in a school where there's almost 70% free and reduced lunch, but even at that school, I would say at least 2/3 of the kids to 3/4 of the kids can bring their own notebooks because that's a pretty inexpensive item. So they can just buy it at the dollar store if they need to. But always make sure that everybody has a notebook. That notebook is great also because they can write notes for class in it. Okay, so anytime you go to the board to teach them something, they have to bring their notebooks. And so those quotes are inside that and the notebook. What's wonderful about this is that they will take these quotes with them to high school. Okay, so they'll have this notebook by the end of middle school that will have all these notes about how to do 16th notes, how to do maybe cut time, or anything else that you're teaching, different scales that you're teaching. They'll have this notebook all together where all their notes are together. But in that same notebook are going to be all these quotes that are going to help them to become stronger people, right? And that's our goal, to help them to become all that they can possibly be. And so that's a really cool thing about the notebook too. So when they're answering these questions, I tell them you have to write the quote, okay? Because I want them to go back and review those quotes. But then they also have to answer the questions. And I tell them, you don't have to do complete sentences on that. But if you want them to do complete sentences, that's totally fine. You might want them to, okay? But I want them to mainly just think, okay? Because middle schoolers, they're in that really perfect time when they can actually totally change the course of their lives. I've seen kids that were getting D's and E's and totally changed the course of their life through band and through thinking about excellence and what they want for their life, okay? So P, put together your instrument, put away the case. A, answer the questions. L, listen, okay? So at the same time as you have them come in and you don't want them to warm up, you have them listening to music, all right? And I cannot stress this enough. Pick music that inspires you. Don't worry about inspiring them at first. Maybe later you can do that. But right now, you might be discouraged. So pick something maybe that you played in college, or maybe that you only wish you could conduct, but you haven't been able to yet. Pick something that just hearing those chords brings you life, and play it. And then there's something about that. Take a few moments as kids are walking in to just sit and listen to it and realize the beauty of it all. That has inspired me more times than I can possibly describe. And as it inspires you, as different things happen, then I encourage you to go to some students and start to talk about it in an excited way. And I'll tell you what happens. Sometimes the kids are like, Misty, you're very excited about that. Yeah, I am, right? Because music is amazing and you get to be a part of it. Aren't we lucky, guys, that we get this opportunity to have music in school? That you get a chance to have a music education for free? Do you know how many countries in the world kids would only dream of that? And yet we have that. We really need to make sure that we are thankful, don't we? And having these conversations like that is just a really cool thing, and that's before the class even starts. And so we're setting the scene for just exciting musical things to happen, right? The last of PALS, so again, PALS, put together your instrument and put away the case properly. Answer the questions. Listening. And then the last one is speak softly and only when necessary. So the idea is that they're not talking because they're thinking as they're answering these questions. But I can't say that this is a perfect scenario at all times, okay? You're going to have kids talk to each other. The band is where their family is so much. And so it's really important that you maintain that environment. It's up to you how strict you want to be with that. I usually start my school year very, very strict. But I think if we just remember, speak softly, that's the key, and only when necessary. So we're not talking about the dance that's coming up. We're not talking about what happened at lunch. We're not talking about drama of middle school right now. We're talking only when necessary to say, like, can I use a restroom before class starts or something like that. So, and just saying these quiet shh, things like that at the beginning of class really makes a difference. Okay, now the last thing I want to tell you in this technique video is when you are ready to start class, then you're going to push pause or die away the music. Okay, so you can decrescendo the music if you have a good enough sound system to be able to do that. And then what happens is there's a lot of sound and then there's not much sound. What that does is that brings the energy and the focus right to you. And what you want to do is be absolutely formal when you get to that podium. And you're going to stand right next to the podium. Now it's really important that you take your hands and you actually put them behind you like this, okay? So you're standing as tall as you can. This is not, let me see if I can adjust this. Okay, so you're standing very tall and you find a spot on the wall and you just stand there. And usually I have feet apart. And I'm going to have a very serious look on my face like this. And I find a spot on the wall straight ahead, and I will not talk to anyone that approaches me. And of course, all this stuff you set up ahead of time. So you just stand there like this. And what happens is the kids don't know what to do. And so they realize, though, that you are ready to go. Now, of course, you'll set all this up the day before, and you'll say, tomorrow when you come in and the music goes off, these are the things that we're going to do. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to question them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, okay? So you're going to have to talk about pals, all those things, right? Put together your instrument and put away the case properly. Answer the questions. You're going to be listening. You're going to be speaking softly and only when necessary. So, and it's important that you review every single one of those steps with the kids, questioning them back and forth. What does speaking softly mean? What's the volume? Well, this would be softly, but this would not be softly. What happened at lunch? And you can be silly with that and make, funny stories like that, and then kids will buy in and they'll come in with you and really be listening. But you'll still have to review it the next day when they come in for the first day, and you'll have to say, remember pals, right? Put away, what's number one? Put away your instrument and take care of the case. And you'll just have to keep saying that to kids that are off task when they come in the next day. Then, after you've gone through all those things and you pause the music and you stand by the podium just like I showed you, you're going to, again, stare at the wall, and that's the key. You need to find one spot. Do not smile when you're standing next to the podium. Don't do anything that is going to make them relaxed, because you don't want them relaxed. You want them to be focused in on you. Okay, now the day before, it's important to practice this so that you can tell them what's going to happen. You're going to stand by the podium, you're going to look like this, and you're not going to be talking to anyone, and tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to ignore you, but if you come up to me tomorrow before class and you try to talk to me, I will not be talking to you. So my students know that. I cannot talk, and I won't do anything else. I'll just stand there, and that's me, and this is what you have to tell the kids. That's me saying, I'm ready for rehearsal. Here's how you need to show me you're ready back. Okay, so it's sort of a call and response. I'm showing you I'm ready for rehearsal, and now you need to sit on the front edge of your chair and sit up tall and have that look in your eye that you are ready to go to. All right, so what happens is after you've taught all of that the day before, then that day that comes, the first day that you're going to do this, then you do everything that you practiced the day before, okay? And then if it's still loud, then you might say, show me you're ready. That's all I would say. I would say, show me you're ready. Just like that, in a very serious voice, okay? At that point, wait, and then wait some more, and then wait some more. And wait and wait and wait until it's actually silent and nobody is even moving. Now, once in a while, it takes so long that you want to get involved. But try not to, because here's the thing. Even if it takes you, let's say, 2 minutes the first day, and it probably won't even take you that long, but let's say it does. The next day will be half the amount of time, the next day, quarter of the amount of time. But if you get them to be quiet, so in other words, they aren't the ones that cause you to be quiet, or I'm sorry, to cause the class to be quiet. If you're the one that makes the class quiet and it's not the students making the class quiet, then what happens is there's much less buy-in. You want leadership to be shown. So the moment somebody does start saying shh or be quiet, then you want to say, maybe you might look at someone that does that and say thank you, and then go right back to your spot on the wall. Okay? If you have questions about this, please let me know. This does work. I've used it for years, and it is so effective that I can even continue to do the stand by the podium thing in the high school years and have the same results. Okay, so it's something that you teach in beginning band and then you have for the rest of the time. I hope that this has helped you, and we'll continue on with what you do once you're on the podium in the next technique video. Take care, and I hope that you have a great day.